Hello everyone, it's me Luthfia. Today we are going to learn about classroom-based assessment. There are four topics that we will learn. The first is norm-referenced and criterion-referenced tasks. The second is some practical steps to test construction. The third is transforming and adapting existing tasks. And the fourth is scrutinizing the alternative. Let's start with the first topic, non-referenced and criterion-referenced tasks. What is the difference? Non-reference task is a task in which each student's score or each task taker's score is interpreted in relation to a mean, median, standard deviation, and percentile rank. For example, scholastic aptitude tests, graduate record examination, and test of English as a foreign language. On the other hand, criterion reference test is a test that designed to give test taker feedback or student feedback on specific course or lesson objective or the criteria of the course. For example, end of unit exam. Let's move to the second topic, some practical steps to test construction. There are some steps that the teacher should follow in constructing a test. The first, task toward clear and ambiguous objective. When we want to develop a good classroom test, we need to examine the objectives for the unit we are testing. Ideally, every curriculum has appropriately framed accessible objectives, that is, objectives that are stated in the terms of explicit performance by the students. Second is from your objectives, draw up test specification. The specification for a classroom use can be a simple and practical outline of our task. As specification will simply comprise three things. The first is a broad outline of the test, the second is the skill being tested, and the third is test item. The third step is drafting your test. A first draft will give you a good idea of what the test will look like, how students will perceive it, the extent to which authentic language and context are present, the length of the listening stimuli, how well a storyline comes across, how things like the closed testing format will work, and other practicalities. The fourth step is pilot the test in a trial run. So when the teacher have done in creating a test, he or she should do a trial test. Go through each set of direction and all items slowly and deliberately, timing yourself as you do so. Often we underestimate the time students will need to complete the test. If the test needs to be shortened or lengthened, make the necessary adjustment. An alternative is to ask a colleague to do this for you, and you will then have another pair of eyes and ears checking for items, timing, or other elements that might need revision. The next step is revise your test. So after doing trial tests, the teacher should revise the test. In revising the test, the teacher should follow some checklists. For example, are the directions to each section absolutely clear, or does each item measure a specified objective, or does the difficulty of each item seems to be appropriate for your students, and many others. Finalize the test. In your final editing of the test, make sure your test is neat and uncluttered on the page, reflecting all the care and precision you have to put its construction. The next steps is utilize your feedback after administering the test. After the teacher gives the task to the student, he or she will have some information about how easy or difficult it was, about the time limits, and about our student reaction to it and their general performance. The teacher should take note of these forms of feedback and use them for making the next task. The last step is providing ample feedback. As you evaluate the task and return it to your students, your feedback should reflect the principles of beneficial feedback discussed earlier. Use the information from the task performance as a springboard for review and for moving on to the next unit. Now we will move to the next topic that is transforming and adapting existing tasks. The first, we have facilitated strategic option for test taker. So in during the task, we can give some strategies for the student. Before the test, we can give students all of the information you can about the test. Encourage students to do a systematic review of the material, give them practice tasks or exercise if available, facilitate formation of a study group if possible, caution students to get a good night's rest before the test, and remind students to get the classroom early. During the test, the teacher can give some strategies such as soon as the test is distributed, tell the students to quickly look over the whole test in order to get a good grasp of its different parts. Reminds them to mentally figure out how much time they will need for each part. Advise them to concentrate as carefully as possible and allot students a few minutes before the end of the class period so that they can proofread their answer, catch careless error, and still finish on time. And after the test, the strategies that we can give to the students include feedback on specific things the student did well, what he or she did not do well, and if it is possible, the reason for such a judgment of our part. Advise the student to pay careful attention in class whatever you say about the test result. Encourage questions from the student and advise the students to make a plan to pay special attention in the future to points that they are weak on. The second is establish phase validity. There are some guidance or guidelines in establishing phase validity. Those include provide a carefully constructed, well thought out format, make sure the test can be complete within the time allotment, design items that are clear and uncomplicated, make all your directions crystal clear, design tasks that are familiar and related to the student's coursework, and couch a difficulty level that is appropriate for your students. Design authentic tasks. Make sure that the language in your task is as natural and authentic as possible. Also, try to give language some context so that items aren't just a string of unrelated language sample. Thematic organization of items may help in this regard, or consider a storyline that may run through your item. Next, distinguish between summative and formative assessment. Do you know what is the difference between summative and formative assessment? The summative assessment are quizzes and tests that evaluate how much someone has learned throughout a discourse, while formative assessment are quizzes and tests that evaluate how someone is learning material throughout a course. Work for beneficial WASPEC. What is WASPEC actually? So WASPEC is the effect that tests have on prior preparation and on learning as the result of having taken the test. Let's move to the next topic, alternative in assessment. There are some alternative assessment that the teacher can give to the student. The first is portfolio. Portfolio is a purposeful collection of students' work that demonstrates to students and others their efforts, progress, and achievement in given areas. The second is journal. Journal can have a number of purposes: language learning logs, grammar discussions, response to reading, self-assessment, and reflection on attitudes and feeling about oneself. The next is conferences. Such interaction has the advantage of allowing one-on-one communication between teacher and student, such that specific needs of a student can receive direct feedback. The next is observation. In order to carry out classroom observation, it is of course important to be clear about why you are observing, what you are observing, how will observe, and how will convey your perception to your student. Checklists and grids are a common form of recording observed behavior. Let's move to the last topic, that is scrutinizing the alternatives. Maximizing practicality and reliability. So how to maximize practicality and reliability? The teacher can build as much authenticity as possible into multiple choice tasks, types, and items. Design classroom tasks that have both objective scoring section and open-ended response section, varying the performance tasks. Turn multiple choice tasks result into diagnostic feedback on areas of needed improvement. Maximize the preparation period before a test to elicit performance relevant to the ultimate criteria of the test. Teach test-taking strategies. Next, performance-based assessment. How to conduct performance-based assessment? The teacher can state the overall goal of the performance, specify the objective of the performance in detail, prepare students for performance in step-based progression, use an evaluation form, checklist, or rubric to give students specific feedback, treat performances as opportunity for giving feedback and provide that feedback systematically, and if it is possible, utilize soft and peer assessment judiciously. So that's all about today's material. If you have comment or question, you can write it in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Goodbye.